Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gerbil Vine. Thank you wonderful gerbil lovers so much for clicking on this video and helping the gerbils and I continue spreading around good care information here on YouTube. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you never miss our uploads. Don't forget to burrow down below and engage in our growing gerbil community. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do here on the channel. The gerbils and I appreciate each and every one of you who watch our video, who comment, who email us. So in honor of our appreciation for you guys, today's video is going to be a subscriber story. We hope that you find this video moving, educational, and maybe even inspiring. The lengths that some gerbil owners will go to ensure that their gerbils are living their best life is truly amazing. So without waiting any longer, let's jump into our very first subscriber story. So I received an email from Mario, a subscriber who lives in Spain, and he has 3 gerbils. By the way, if you guys are interested in emailing us your story for a chance to be featured in one of our videos, our email is thegerbilvine@hotmail.com. So I'm going to just read off my laptop because it's a little bit easier here. So in his email, Mario says, I take this opportunity to share with you my experience with store-bought gerbils. First, I want to emphasize that I did research on gerbil needs, lifespan, and behavior for a year before acquiring these special animals. I purchased my trio of male gerbils from a shop in my neighborhood after checking reviews on that shop and visiting it a couple times to gather impressions. Jerry. Hi, baby. It's a small shop with few animals, and the shop assistant seemed reasonably knowledgeable. When I got the gerbils, they were around 8 weeks old. I believe that one of them was 1 to 2 weeks older than the other 2. They weren't siblings, but they had been put together after weaning. The older one, Nibbler, used to be defensive and bite my hand at first, but after some training he stopped doing it and it actually became the friendliest of the trio. Of the other 2, Pippin was very adventurous and reckless, whereas Copito was shy, frightful, and timid. He continues to say, my gerbils' health problems started just after 6 months of owning them. The first one to show signs was Copito, who got a red and scabby nose. For a span of the next 4 months, I took him many times to the vet who specialized in exotics, who eventually diagnosed him with dermatitis and hypersensitivity to certain fungus. The vet prescribed him with cortisone and fungicide drops and suggested that I stop using any store-bought bedding, hay, and nesting material. From then on, I only used shredded kitchen roll and cardboard as bedding, which for the most part reduced the problem almost entirely. However, the vet informed me that Copito's health issue is chronic and can be triggered any moment without an apparent cause. For this reason, whenever I see that his nose is reddish and he scratches it, I have to apply the medicines for some days to make the symptoms subside. Currently, he is the only one alive at age 1 year and a half. Around a year after the purchase, when my gerbils were about 14 months old, my other 2 gerbils died within 2 weeks. The first one to go was Pippin, who suffered from acute renal dysfunction. The onset of the illness was very quick, and by the time that I got him to the vet, he was already severely dehydrated. He spent his last night at the vet's with a heat pad, intravenous saline solution, and wet food, but he didn't make it because he was too weak and recovery was impossible. Finally, Nibbler passed away only 2 weeks after this event. One night, I noticed that he was very quiet, and when he did move, the movements of one of his hind legs were jerky and uncoordinated. I took him to the vet the next day, and the diagnosis was that he'd probably fallen or hit his leg while jumping or climbing, although during the visit he was much more active than the night before. When I took him home, I saw that he was tired and slightly lethargic. The next morning, when I went to check on him, I found his cold body lying inside the bedding, far from the usual nesting spots. The probable cause of death is undetermined, but given the symptoms shown the previous day before, I believe that he'd had a seizure that affected his brain. I was devastated after both deaths, especially for Copito as he'd been left alone. He's now successfully claned with 2 adopted younger male gerbils, and they've lived together for 4 months and he is like a dad to them. Given that the 3 gerbils suffered from different illnesses in a short span of time when still young, and 2 of them died at around 14 months, I strongly believe that the subjacent cause of their medical conditions was genetic. I think that the breeder wasn't careful when choosing the breeding pairs, and therefore some genetic defects got passed down the line. After both deaths, I visited the pet shop where I had purchased the gerbils to speak with the manager, as I found that the store should be made aware of the situation. The store manager was kind to me and listened to my impressions, but he defended his supplier and argued that it had been a mere coincidence. From then on, I decided that adoption is the only ethical means to acquire a pet. Thank you for taking your time to read about my gerbil story. They truly appreciate it. Feel free to share the story in your channel if you want. Best regards, Mario. So thank you so much to Mario for sharing you and your gerbil story and for allowing me to share it on the channel here today. I am truly sorry for the amount of heartbreak that you have had to go through in regard to losing your gerbils. I think it's amazing the amount of care that you did give to your gerbils while they were in your care, as well as all of the medical attention that you provided them with when they were ill. In your specific situation, I really am glad that you ended up going with the trio of gerbils from the pet store. I know in my previous videos I have mentioned that duos are best, and there are some exceptions to that rule. Like in this case, if you were to take only 2 gerbils instead of taking all 3 of them, thus leaving one behind, that would be a very bad situation. So you definitely did the right thing in taking all 3 of those gerbils home. I was so upset to hear about your unpleasant experience with the shop owner, considering that they are not a large company or a big corporation, but rather a small pet shop. While I'm pleased to hear that the shop assistant seemed at least knowledgeable in gerbil care requirements, I am very sorry to hear that they brushed your concerns off with little regard. My heart breaks for you that 2 of your gerbils only made it to 14 months, which is on the very low side of their life expectancy, and that they passed away within weeks of each other. Oh my god, I mean, losing a pet is so hard, but to just have them so close together back to back like that is absolutely heartbreaking. So I really am sorry for you and for Copito. The positive ending to the story is so sweet to hear that Copito has bonded really well to the new gerbils and that he is like a dad to them. So I think that's really awesome that despite losing his cage mates, it hasn't affected his ability to be social with other gerbils. Unfortunately, what happened to Mario is quite common with pet store gerbils or with backyard breeders. Breeding gerbils is not something that everyone should start doing. It is not just a hobby. You really do have to know your stuff. You really should be researching thoroughly on gerbil genetics and have a certain level of commitment, care, and experience before you begin doing this. Improper breeding of gerbils will lead to many sad moments for both the gerbils and for the owners. Not even to mention all the costly vet trips to diagnose and treat ailments of these gerbils. While you should always have money available for an emergency vet visit, adopting gerbils from an ethical breeder can help reduce the number of trips and issues that will arise. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much to Mario and his trio of gerbils for sending their story in. I hope that you all enjoyed hearing about the subscriber story. You guys know I never advocate for pet store gerbils, and Mario's story today just seems to reiterate my point. More often than not, pet shop gerbil suppliers will just try to push out as many gerbils as they can as fast as they can because they are interested not in the health of the gerbil, but in making a profit. Supporting ethical breeders alleviates all of these issues because they truly are looking out for the best interest of the gerbils. So if you guys are feeling inspired or maybe feeling like you want to share, send us an email with your story at thegerbilvine@hotmail.com. If you guys are interested in seeing more subscriber stories, let us know down below in the comments. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and burrow down below to engage in our growing gerbil community. Thank you. Bye.